has always been a dream of mine to come to the Terra Santa, to the Holy Land, to visit all those places where Christianity was born. Well, one day I said to myself, Guido, it's time. I packed my bags, kissed my restaurant goodbye, and came to Jerusalem. Well, here I am. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, which killest their prophets and stonest them that are sent unto thee. Here from this veranda we have a wonderful view of the old city, a place where one of the most dramatic episodes in the life of Jesus Christ took place, the Last Supper. What would have Jesus and his disciple eaten that night? Let's explore the dinner table of 2,000 years ago.
Welcome once again to Feasts of Faith, the program that pursues the tastes of the Bible in the days of Jesus. In this last episode, we'll follow Jesus throughout that final week, from his pilgrimage to Jerusalem until his betrayal. From the Galilee, Jesus moved towards Judea and the Jordan Valley. Here too the multitudes gathered around him, and he continued to preach his ideas, to recite parables, and to heal the sick. He arrived at Jericho, and from there continued towards Jerusalem. The disciples were with him, and on the way he performed miracles and prepared those around him for what was soon to ensue. The New Testament tells us that Jesus walked on this route on the way to Jerusalem. Hungry and tired, he stopped to pick some figs. But the tree, covered with leaves, had no fruit. Disappointed, Jesus cursed the tree, which immediately died. This is an example of how Jesus taught, using simple, everyday objects. The lesson being that the fruit of love in one's life is more important than outward appearances. As they approached the holy city, Jesus sent his people into a nearby village to find a donkey upon which he would ride into Jerusalem. From the name of the village, Bethpage, we can assume that figs were abundant.
We gather now in that little village just outside of Bethany called Bethphage. The symbol of the fig, if you remember, was there, and Jesus and his disciples, once again, needing food, would reach up to the fig tree. And in their great disappointment, it was absolutely barren. It wasn't producing. And there's a symbolical story there. It is more for the meaning of the story than the cursing of the tree. That certainly is in no nature that we know of concerning God, for cursing the earth or cursing anything that he has created. And it is the story of how, if our lives are not productive, so to speak, then we cannot feed each other, and we become sort of non-productive, self-centered and greedy in our natures. Jesus symbolized that type of concern over we who are fed so generously by God and do not feed the multitudes because of our selfishness and greediness. So he illustrated the point with that story of the figless fig tree.
Grazie, Antonio. When I first hear a name of a village, I look at the source of the name. Bethpage means the house of figs. Figs is one of the 7 species that grew here in the Holy Land in the biblical time. In the time of Jesus, they came in many forms, and they grew abundantly as they are growing today. The forms were dried, they made honey out of them, and they make juices out of them. The best form, as I think, is to eat them dry or fresh like this. Delicioso. Come, let's go. Later on we shall see how we can use the figs and their honey in cooking. Antonio, andiamo, Anto!
All'ingresso di Gesù in Gerusalemme, sopra un'asina e il suo poledro, come ci dicono i Vangeli, cito in particolare il Vangelo di Matteo, al capitolo 21, una folla numerosissima stese i suoi mantelli sulla strada, mentre altri tagliavano rami dagli alberi e li stendevano sulla via. E ci dice l'Evangelista che soprattutto i bambini gridavano: Osanna al figlio di David, benedetto colui che viene nel nome del Signore. E a chi chiedeva conto di tutta quell'agitazione, la gente rispondeva: questi è Gesù, è il profeta da Nazaret di Galilea.